I cut the check, I cut the check, I cut the check. Tell my niggas we up next, so we up next. She shot a text, she shot a text, she shot a text. Kill the I might put the different day, put a nigga on that same shit. I've been ballin' with my niggas, Kevin Cambridge. Oh, you drippy, but you better tuck your chain quick.
What's good, y'all? We back with another video, little quick video. Something big just happened. As you can see, I got me a light. This is not mine, my mom gave it to me. But I got me a light, so these night videos, if something happens in the night, I am prepared. But yeah, something big just happened, I would say. Russell Westbrook got traded for John Wall, and it kind of shocked everybody because we heard a couple weeks ago they were talking about it, and we heard that talks really didn't go nowhere. This was around when free agency first started. We heard that they were talking about flipping each for John Wall, and they didn't like it or something. I guess they didn't offer them as much as they wanted because John Wall's contract is a lot. So they might have wanted a first round pick, which they got in this trade, and the Wizards wasn't giving them that first round pick in a couple weeks ago. But now I seen a report, they said they haven't talked in weeks, and then they called the Rockets. They called the Rockets today, and they offered a deal, and they accepted it within hours. So you ain't talking to them for like a couple weeks, and then you just offer them a deal out of nowhere, and they accept it. That's kind of crazy. I might hang up. That's kind of crazy how that happens, though. Excuse me while I'm looking down, texting my friend back, but it's real crazy. It's real crazy though that we about to see John Wall in a different jersey. I'm a big John Wall fan. Like, these 2 years or 2 seasons that he hasn't played been a lot. Cause like I don't think people realize how good he was. He was arguably top 3. To me, he was definitely top 3 as a point guard in the league. And then that Bradley and John Wall duo was crazy to me. And it was always fun to watch because their chemistry was like no other. They were like brothers. It was really fun to watch. Like, if you don't know their story, they were cool way before they were even on the same team. So that was just, it was very cool to see. And then you just know when you have those two, you're automatically making the playoffs. Like I said, this year I expect the Wizards to make the playoffs. But I do want to say something before I keep talking about this. I forgot about the Raptors in my last video. I know not a lot of people seen this, so I'm not really tripping about it because I don't get that much views. But I forgot about the Raptors. That was an idiotic mistake. I made a couple of those. I made a list earlier in the year, like when quarantine first started, and I was naming my top 10 small forwards, and I forgot about Jimmy Butler. I was like, jeez, bro. I think I made another mistake, but I can't think. But yeah, so I forgot about the Raptors last episode. But like I said, this Wizards team, I expected them to go to the playoffs, and then this trade happens out of nowhere. And I don't know, it was like sad. It was sad for me because I really like John Wall and Bradley Beal. To see him get traded, and I know the reason why they traded him is kind of weird, because I guess they have an excuse to say the contract is so big. But when they seen that video of John Wall, he was partying with his friends, throwing up gang signs. And if you see pictures of him, sometimes he look high, he look crazy. I'm like, dude, living his life, man. It's just living his life. And he throwing up gang signs. I'm pretty sure he's not in a gang in the NBA, but like, once you're in the game, you're never really out. So he's not doing gang banging stuff, but like, he's still gonna rep his set. So, I mean, I'm not the one to talk about gang talk, but I know the basics of it a little bit. So, I don't know why they got mad about that. And that's basically what it was, because they said that's what it stemmed from, that video that came out of him throwing up gang signs. And after that, he requested for a trade, and they wanted to trade him badly. But that sucks how that happened. It's kind of weird for the Wizards. Like, I was talking to some friends, they was like, we really traded him for throwing up gang signs. And I was like, yeah, that's basically what it was. And then you get back Russell Westbrook. Russell Westbrook is not no bad player. Like I've been saying for a long time, Russell Westbrook before the bubble was one of the best players in the league. He was averaging nearly 30 points a game, and they were winning games. Like, they started off pretty terrible, and then they started winning games. I don't know if James Harden got hurt. I just think he just went into a little slump, and then Russell Westbrook was carrying the team from the beginning of the year, like the beginning of January to the quarantine. So he's not no bad player. I just don't like that Russell Westbrook fit with Bradley Beal. Like, Russell Westbrook's whole thing with getting traded from the Rockets was, one, they didn't have accountability, and 2, he wanted to be the number 1 guy again. He wanted to have the ball in his hand, and I just feel like that's bad for the Washington Wizards to trade for him when you just had Bradley Beal had an All NBA All Star season, even though he wasn't given none of those awards, which is outrageous. But you just had him have a crazy season, his best season. He's entering his prime, even though he had a crazy season last year. He's entering his prime, and you get a dude that's going to obviously take the ball away from him. And he even said he basically is, even though he didn't know he was going to get traded to the team. He said he wants to get traded to a team that's going to allow him to be that number 1 guy again when he has the ball in his hands. Well, that's not gonna look right with Bradley Beal. And to me, if I'm the Wizards, I'm just blowing it up. I'm trading everybody. Well, everybody that's valuable and old, not the young players that you just drafted the last 2 years, of course. But like, I'm trading Bradley Beal. I'm trading Thomas Bryant. I'm trading anything of value other than your rookies and your sophomores, and of course Troy Brown Jr. I wouldn't trade him either. But like, I don't know. I just don't like that fit with Bradley Beal and Russell Westbrook is not going to be the same. Bradley Beal is definitely going to take a dip in points and assists and having the ball in his hand in general. Like, he's going to take a dip. So, I don't know. I just hate that. And then it's going to be weird to see Russell Westbrook, if he makes the All-Star team, as a Eastern Conference All-Star player. That's kind of weird. But this team, I don't even know if I can say they're a playoff team. And it's not that Russell Westbrook is a worse player than John Wall. It's just the chemistry was there. This was a chemistry trade because Russell Westbrook didn't like playing with the Rockets, and I guess the office and the other people in the Wizards organization didn't really like how John Wall was carrying himself off the court, and they didn't like the contract that they gave him, so they used that as an excuse to trade him basically. But that Wizards team, that chemistry was there. John Wall, Bradley Beal they're, like I said, they're one of the best duos in the league when healthy. And you rarely get that because John Wall can never stay healthy. But when they're healthy, they're always in the playoff, and they always compete. I think it was one time they swept the number 1 seed Raptors, and they went to Game 7 against the Celtics. They even had this one time where the Cavs, they were the number 1 seed, and they started losing at the end of the regular season. And the main reason to that is, and this is what everybody thinks, a lot of people think, is the Wizards had the perfect team to beat the Cavs. This is the Cavs with LeBron and Kyrie and Kevin Love and them guys. And the Wizards had the perfect team to beat those guys. But I don't think the Cavs wanted to play them, so they started losing games so they could fall into that 2nd seed and play, I guess, was the Hawks that year. I don't know who they played. But that's like a real story, though. I believe in that story a lot. Because that Wizards team was nice. You had Otto Porter, John Wall, Bradley Beal, Kelly Oubre was coming into his own. You had Nene, you had Gortat. John Wall got Gortat paid. Another person that gets his centers paid. John Wall got Gortat paid. They had Bojan. Like, that was a deep little young. I mean, it wasn't young, but a deep team. The Wizards is just a dumb organization. They're a terrible organization. You give Otto Porter $28 million and you trade him. And you gave him $28 million for no reason. It was one season where he was one of the best 3-point shooters, and pretty good on defense. But that is it. $28 million is crazy to give him. You got rid of Bojan, which was dumb. Bojan fit the Wizards so perfectly, but then you got something back. You got Kelly Oubre the next year in the draft. Well, you trade him for fucking Trevor Ariza last year. And Trevor Ariza only played 20 games with y'all and then left in free agency. Like, what the heck? What are they doing? And then you give John Wall $40 million when you know he can't stay healthy to save his life. And that's one of my favorite players. But I'm just being straight honest. I'm being honest. He can't stay healthy. And even that, he's not even that type of player that you give $40 million. I love you, John Wall, but he's like a $30 to $33 million contract type player. So it's still a max player, but not no $40 million. That's Steph Curry's, Kevin Durant's, Anthony Davis, Kawhi's, Giannis. That's those type of players. James Harden. But he's not up there. But they gave it to him, and that's because basically they knew nobody's coming to Washington. This is the best player y'all going to have for a long time. And I don't know. They do so good with their draft picks, though. They drafted John Wall. They drafted Bradley Beal, Kelly Oubre. I said Otto Porter doesn't deserve $28 million, but he still was a nice young player that was good for them. But they gave him that money. Now he has to play up to $28 million, and he's not going to do that because he's not that type of player. Just like a lot of people hate that Tobias Harris getting paid that much money and he not playing that good. That's because he was never a type of person that gets paid. He's never that type of player that's supposed to get paid $34 million. He's not that type of player at all. Then you had Kelly Oubre, which is another great draft pick. They hit on Rui Hachimura last year. I feel like they hit on Denny Avdia, but now you trade John Wall, you get Russell, your best player that's had one of the best seasons of his career last year. Now you get a person that's going to take the ball away from him the whole time. It's not going to look right. It's not. I don't like that. And then it's not. Because, like, the difference between Russell Westbrook and John Wall knew that it was Bradley Beal's team when he gets back. And he's okay with taking a step back. When it was time to hit the big shots and those playoff runs that they were in, or just big shots in general, Bradley Beal was always that shot taker. It was never John Wall, except that one Celtics play where he hit that game-winning three. That's because they couldn't give the ball to Bradley Beal because they was locking him down. So that's the only time John Wall took really a big shot for that team. So I just don't understand that trade for the Wizards, bro. I think they lost tremendously. They lost that trade. Yes, you got a W. You got rid of John Wall's contract, but you got Russell Westbrook's contract, who's also getting paid $35 million. So, like, I mean, he might even be getting paid $40 million. It might get up there. It might be a front. What is that called? A front-loaded contract. Like when a contract gets bigger every year. So he might be getting paid that much money. And that is overpaid. We could obviously see Russell Westbrook is getting older. Doesn't mean he's getting... Well, yes, he's getting worse, but it's still one of the top players in the league. So you got back another bad contract that nobody wants to take. Nobody is going to take. So you stuck with Russell Westbrook. So Russell Westbrook is going to be there for the next 3 or 4 years. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see this team making the playoff. I don't know. I don't like this fit at all. I don't like it at all. I feel like it's making Bradley Beal turn into the old Bradley Beal where John Wall was the best player and it was by a landslide. And John Wall's going to have the ball in his hand most of the time. But Bradley Beal will be there to make the buckets. I feel like that's going to turn him into that player. I don't see Russell Westbrook coming in there and doing the same thing he did with Harden. Because Russell Westbrook's whole thing was he wants the ball in his hand most of the time. It didn't work with Harden. It didn't work with PG. Players that should have the ball in their hands over Russell Westbrook. It's not gonna work with Bradley Beal. That was a dumb trade in my opinion. I feel like that was dumb. That was dumb for the Wizards to do. But for the Rockets, hey, I like it. I like it. I ain't gonna lie, I like it. For the Rockets, I'm assuming they ain't gonna trade Harden, but they just said they want to keep him. But like Harden did like demand a trade, so he can easily just sit out. It's like they can't do nothing. If he sits out, he can sit out. He's getting paid money. I don't understand what people sit out for, but like it happens. It happens. So he can easily sit out and then demand a trade, and they trade him. But like I like it because if they do that, the pieces that they gonna get back with John Wall, Christian Wood, DeMarcus Cousins. Let's say they get back Karis LeVert, Spencer Dinwiddie, Joe Harris. You got John Wall, Karis LeVert, Joe Harris, Christian Wood, DeMarcus Cousins. Spencer Dinwiddie off the bench, PJ Tucker off the bench, Daniel House off the bench, Gerald Green off the bench. Like they got a nice little fun team over there. I like to see John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins back together from their college days. I'm liking that. I'm happy for that. But I only like this for them if they trade James Harden. Like I said, when they got Boogie and Christian Wood, I only like it if they trade James Harden because John Wall's not going to come back and be the same player we once seen with James Harden. Boogie and Christian Wood are not going to be the same players that we've been seeing with James Harden. It's just not going to happen. It's not. When you go with James Harden is one of those players where when you play with him, you go automatically into a system. When you go with James Harden, you're there to make career for your own sometimes and then shoot spot up threes. That's it. Just like with LeBron James. When you go to LeBron James, you're automatically a spot up shooter. Chris Bosh was one of the best power forwards we've seen in the league. They traded him to the Heat. He was automatically a spot-up shooter. Same thing with Kevin Love. One of the best power forwards we've seen in the league. Trade him to the Heat, a spot-up shooter. That's just what it is. That's just what it is when you go to certain teams with certain players that are high and that are one of the best players. So I don't know. I like it. I like it only if they change James Harden. That James Harden, John Wall fit. I just see it ending exactly how Chris Paul and James Harden ended, and Russell Westbrook and James Harden ended. It's okay. It's not really gonna do nothing. They want to win so bad, but it's not gonna happen. Y'all not winning over the the Mavericks, the Nuggets, Clippers, Lakers. Y'all not even better than Portland and the Suns. Like it's not gonna work. It's not. So I don't know what they're doing. They're still one of the most confusing organizations in the world because they want to win so bad, but I don't see them winning with that team that they have, and they have no assets at all. So, only asset they have is obviously James Harden, obviously, but you know what I mean. But I don't know what Houston's doing. I guess they won. They got a first round pick. They don't really have a lot of those, so I guess they won. But other than that, I don't know, bro. I don't know, bro. I think this was a lose-lose type of trade for me. It's like a lose-lose, especially for Bradley Beal. Bradley Beal. To me, Bradley Beal is the biggest loser in this, and it's not even his fault. It's not. But it's just the way they did it. They traded him for Russell Westbrook, and it's gonna be different. It's gonna be different to see John Wall in Houston Rockets jersey. I thought he was a Wizards lifer. I thought he was gonna play for that team for the rest of his life. But it's obviously not gonna be that. Russell Westbrook is on his third team. I don't like the fit. I don't feel like it's gonna be good at all. Hopefully they can do something. But hey, this is it for today. I don't know. Shout out my mom for this light. You saved it. Now I can get my views today because I feel like a lot of people want to view this today and they're not going to give a damn about it tomorrow. So this video is about to go up. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace. I'm about to start working again. I stopped working because I'm going back to school. So I'm about to start working again and doing school. So videos might lessen down, but I'm gonna try to be consistent with it. And just bear with me. Like and subscribe, share, watch the whole video. People be watching like 5 minutes of the video. Like, damn, y'all don't rock with me like that. Watch the whole video, please. And I know people might not even see this part. When I do my next video, I'm probably going to have to say this in the beginning because people don't watch the whole video. But watch the whole video, please. And like, share, subscribe. And I'll talk to you guys later.